Today we're going to continue on with the Unit 7, Module 2. Today we're going to work on fraction division with money, Part 1, and of course Part 2. You will be doing some independent practice with this and some independent practice with some other ideas stemming off of this. So let's take a look at this, starting pretty simple. How many dimes are there in a dollar? So most of you knew this answer without any sort of setup. But if we needed to look at a setup for a problem, we can look at the problem as a setup of this. We can look at it of dimes over dollar. So we know if we have one dime, that is a tenth of a dollar. So we know that we have 10 dimes would equal a dollar. So that would be our setup as a ratio or in a ratio table. Let's go on to the next one. How many dimes are there in $2? So we would look at the problem of 2 divided by a tenth. Once again, most of you know the answer would be 20. But looking up at the setup again, we would look at the ratio table of dimes to dollars. So we know if we have one dime, it is a tenth of a dollar. We know that 10 dimes equals a dollar. So if we double that, we know that 20 dimes would get us to $2. Let's work with nickels. So we know that nickels are worth 5 cents. How many nickels are there in a dollar? So our problem would look like this. We have a dollar, and we know that we have a 20th because of the fact that if we take 5 times 20, that would get us to 100 or to a dollar. So that's how I figured out my denominator of 20. So my setup would be nickels to a dollar. So I would have one nickel, which would be a 20th of a dollar. So I would need 20 nickels in order to equal a dollar. Now you'll be doing some independent practice on your own, but we will continue on and you'll get to that momentarily. Let's go on to part 2 of this. How many quarters are there in a dollar? Of course, all of you probably knew that there were 4, but now we're taking the approach of looking at this in a fraction. We know that we have a dollar, and we would divide this by a fourth. Why we would divide it by a fourth? Well, we know if we set up our ratio table, we have our quarters to a dollar. If I have 1 quarter, I know that 1 quarter is a fourth, and I need 4 quarters in order to get me to a dollar. So that is why I set it up in a fraction of a fourth. So I knew that 4 quarters would get me a full dollar. How many half dollars, some of you probably have some special half dollars, some 50-cent pieces, are there in $3? So I take a look at 3 wholes, and I'm going to divide that into a half. So once again, a half dollar into a dollar. I know that my setup is I have 1 half dollar, and it is equal to a half. 2 halves make a whole. So I know that 2 50-cent pieces would get me 1 full dollar. 6 50-cent pieces would get me 3 full dollars. So now you'll continue on with some independent practice on your own for today.